you have to start with the top guys in the 2026 class. Sean, would you agree that Joey O'Brien is one of the most important visitors this weekend?
Yeah, absolutely. Joey O'Brien for the safety athlete. We just changed him to athlete on three. Number 104 in the on three industry rankings, and really good prospect. I mean, I would list him as a safety personally, just because receivers are dime a dozen guys. But you look at the 6'4", 180, can really run, can do a ton of things great. And I think that you look at the RPM right now, it's a bit misleading because Notre Dame at 90% was the early favorite. I'm not sure that they're the early favorite anymore. I'm not sure that's early anymore, but I'm not sure that they're the favorite anymore. Penn State has done an excellent job recruiting Joey O'Brien, sort of coming back around to um, sort of cultivate that relationship. Terry Smith, Anthony Poindexter have been very much on it. I know he was going to go to Alabama in September, I believe, or maybe it was early October. Sort of turned around and went to Penn State instead. And I think Penn State made some moves there. So I think that certainly trending up for Joey O'Brien, Penn State putting a mega emphasis on Pennsylvania in the class of 2026 and trying to be frank, trying to close out the class of 2025. So O'Brien, a big time target for Penn State. I haven't quite lined these guys up by rating, but he's got to be among the top 5 or 6 2026 prospects that are slated to be on hand.
Fitz, do you have a comparison for him from an athletic perspective? Because he's faster than Marcus Allen, but he's around that size. And he is probably bigger than a lot of Penn State's receiver targets. And some of those guys that we have on that list probably didn't have the straight line speed that he does. So I'm just curious if there's anybody that kind of tickles your brain in towards, yeah, like that's reasonable.
Yeah, nobody really jumps out to me at this point in terms of like Penn State guys. Dejon Lane, maybe, but he's taller. Like O'Brien's taller than him. Was a really good two-way player with that kind of athletic profile. It's funny because you look at Notre Dame being the early leader, and it makes sense. Kyle Hamilton, they did the same thing with Jadon Blair last year.
Yeah.
Those guys are the ones that make sense. A name to throw out from the way back, Jim Noel went to Boston College, was a 6'3" corner. There's not a ton of those guys that are out there that can move like that. And I don't know that O'Brien could play corner at the next level, but it's that kind of athlete that you're looking for, a guy that has those kind of hips. I'm blanking, and this is a bad Commander fan on the starting corner that went to Michigan from Canada. He's got that same kind of fluidity for a 6'3", 6'4" type guy, and that's really what you're looking for in a safety. And that's kind of why I selfishly say safety, because you put that guy on offense and he fits in with a lot of the receivers that we've seen come through, not just Penn State, but like a lot of the 6'4" receivers kind of fit in a box. 6'4" safeties really do not. So that's kind of where I'm at with that.
Massively important recruit for Penn State. I would have him right now as one of their top 10 in the region-ish. And this is just me spitballing, but I mean, that's how just much he has just continued to rise. And the more and more people talk about him, obviously he's having maybe one of the best seasons of any player in the state at the moment. Offense, defense, no matter what it is, he's leading a LaSalle team that always has to go up against St. Joseph's Prep, and they'll do that again next weekend. And they've already got one win over Prep, and they're trying to get over that hump and obviously win a state championship this year. And Joey O'Brien and of course Gavin Sidwar, I don't want to leave him on the bench on that discussion because he's having a great year too. But to me, I mean, you can't point out too many players right now that are having a better season in Pennsylvania than Joey O'Brien.
Yeah, and if you go down the Pennsylvania rankings in 2026, and these are very fluid because they're still early. I know it doesn't seem like it, but some of these guys have been on the radar since they're freshmen. Number 1, Kevin Brown. Number 2, Tyler Merrill, who's going to visit this weekend. Number 3, Messiah Mickens. Joey O'Brien's number 4. Matt Sieg, number 5. He's going to visit this weekend. Peyton Falzone, the Virginia Tech commit, is still a target for Penn State as a tight end. David Davis. I mean, Penn State, you can see the emphasis that they're putting into Pennsylvania in 2026. And I think that, O'Brien is a guy that it would be a big win in the sense that this wasn't a Pennsylvania kid that was always coming to Penn State. And, that's different than what we've seen in the past couple of cycles.